We're here to talk about goop.
Oh, goop.
Goop, goop, goop.
The message is that people really want to understand why, and we're trying to provide the why it's important to us and hopefully why it's important to them.
Please give a big welcome to Marina Warrior and Miss Gwyneth Paltrow.
Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. You know, for me, it's like a dream come true. You know, like every little girl watches the movies and doesn't even realize if it's ever possible to meet one of those amazing people. And now you're sitting in my city. It's just it's such a surreal moment for me. So thank you so much for finding the time in your busy schedule to be here. So, Gwyneth, it's like when a lot of people, especially girls, it's like I said, we're watching those amazing movies, and being an actress is probably like a dream come true for every little girl. But it's not easy, right? And when you're being an actress, you're pretty much like an employee. You're working for somebody else. You're listening to directives like, oh, do this, don't do that, don't touch this. It's almost back into the parenting world. And sometimes it's not necessary, the movie that you like or whatever. I'm kind of like thinking, what are the objections going to be, right, if you are an actress? And at the same time, you decided to, being in such a powerful and amazing celebrity and actress, you still decided to open your own business. And you decided to be your own CEO, to move from the employee into the CEO world. So, first of all, what do you like best? And what is the difference from your perspective from being an accomplished actress and running your own show?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's amazing to see all of these women. Forgive me for my mask. I'm just being extra careful. I have to see somebody and, call them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
My life so far has been so interesting and wild, just wild. When I think about the path that I took as an actress, and I loved being an actress when I did it back in the day, and then I started to like it not as much, and now I'm so fulfilled by my job now. I mean, I've learned so much. I can't believe how much I've learned. I can't believe how much there still is to learn every day. I'm just amazed by, what else I need to learn, and it's been fascinating. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to say, as women, we've been fed a really dangerous story that's really bad for us, which is that we need to compete with other women in order to succeed. And it's not true. In fact, I have observed in my life that the more I have held hands with other women and lifted up other women and shared the floor with other women and amplified their businesses on Goop, even if they have a competitive product, the more successful that I am. And so I think a lot of it comes from this consciousness of, I don't believe in myself, and I'm not going to be supported by my friends because there's, jealousy amongst women. So I think we all as women have to hold hands and help each other succeed and build each other up and tell each other the story that we can do it. We can, but we need each other. We really do. And we're always going to struggle with having self-belief. Every human being struggles with that. But if you can have a network of people who love you, women who love you, who can reiterate to you, you've got this and I've got your back while you do this, take the risk, it's life-changing. Oh my God, I love teenagers. They're so fun. I swear, I thought it was going to be a nightmare. I thought people were going to I don't know. I thought there was going to be all kinds of, like, I was going to be getting cursed at and getting, I mean, they do roll their eyes at me, or my daughter rolls her eyes at me once in a while, but I'm really loving this time of, raising and sitting at the dinner table with and observing these emerging human beings who are just brilliant and so different from each other and very passionate about what they're passionate about, and I love it. It's so funny with raising kids. Like, at every stage, I've thought this is the best. It's never going to get better than, when they're 3 and 5. But now they're 15 and 17, and now this is my favorite time.
I love it. So, are you a strict mom, or you kind of like the mom that's like, okay, you messed it up, we'll clean it up later, but like, what's your parenting way?
I think that I have tried to parent more consciously. I think my parents' generation, they kind of parented more out of instinct, and which can be good, but also, like, I'm not sure that they were very strategic about, like, I thought they were busy, they were working, and that's just our generation of parents. And so what I'm trying to do is really raise them in an atmosphere where they feel accepted and where there's no shame. There's no shame used to keep them on track or judgment. I really, because I think that's so hard to recover from. And I think you can keep a kid on track by being philosophical, as opposed to, implying or overtly saying, like, what kind of person would do that? And the message in that is, you're a bad person. And as parents, we don't mean to do that. We don't mean to, but we can be very sharp with our words. And so I try also to think about, my daughter will be 18 next year, which I cannot believe, and she'll go out into the world. And so I think about, who do I want to put into the world? I want her to be ready. I want her to be polite. I want her to be herself. I want her to feel fully herself and be fully self-accepting. I want her to have empathy. I want her to speak more than one language. It's like whatever you as a mother decide, those things are important. And so I try to do it from more of a point of view of support as opposed to being strict. How adaptable they are and we are as a species. And I think they, like you were saying about your son, he was able to cultivate a social life and make connections. And, I think they're fortunate in a way that they will have had, they're the first fully digitally native generation. And yet they will have had this year where they were at home. And they were, oftentimes online. My son likes to play video games too and has his connections with his friends. But also, there were, and I don't know how it was for everybody, but, in our house we had no screens for a long time in the day. At all meals we had no screens. We kind of got all phones away from the table, and we had this incredible human connection that came back in a different way. And so I think they will look back, and I'll be really curious to see, in 5-10 years, what our teenagers will say about the year that they spent at home and how it impacted them. Well, I would say clarity of vision is super important. I think if you don't know where you're going, you can't get there and you can't lead people there. I think showing up in a very authentic way, in success or failure, I think creates a bond with you and your team that can really lead to that aligned vision and the outcome of success. And I think communicating really honestly and vulnerably, and not being afraid to come from that very human place, and because then the people that you work with feel brought in, to your experience. And I think the more that happens, then the more camaraderie is made, and then the better things go. Well, I think it's really important. I'll just speak for myself, because I had, believe it or not, probably more limiting beliefs than anybody throughout my life. And it really wasn't until I learned how to forgive myself for the judgments that I was holding against myself, the things that I had done wrong in my life, the people that I had hurt, the wrongs that had been done to me. Until I really was able to forgive, I wasn't able to get in touch with my real center of power. And when a woman says, or feels like she's not enough, or in any way, she's just holding a judgment against herself that's the opposite energy of what, as women, we channel light and nurturing, and we can do that for ourselves. But we have to shake off those misconceptions that we have about ourselves and those judgments, because when you completely forgive yourself, then you realize that you accept yourself, and you're not perfect, and you know the things you've done wrong. But if you can let go of it and start to go forward from a place of I love myself, I forgive myself, I accept myself, I'm doing the best I can, then things start to unlock. That's what I've noticed.